Hey guys, Doug here from Fractally. I want to share my passion with you for fractals because fractals are more than just some arbitrary thing in mathematics. They're more than some sort of concept that can change the world. They are the world. And the more that we can understand fractals, the more that we can understand not only our consciousness, because our consciousness is fractal, but we can better understand our place in the universe as a piece of God, a piece of the universe itself, which we can prove geometrically and mathematically. So speaking of that, you may have heard, you may be very familiar with recursive equations, recursive functions. So this is how we sort of describe what a fractal would be. But this is not a fractal in and itself. A fractal, it's named because of these, you could think of them as fractures or sections that are self-similar to the whole. But this isn't like a basic introduction, right? I'm not making this video to teach you something you already know. So this is the torus shape. Now, some people say that it's not a fractal, but it is a fractal in the higher dimensions and higher densities of light. So why this is important is because it brings us to the point of what a fractal is. Now, what's happening here is we have this expansion. And if you could imagine, this expansion goes up, around, all the way down, and in. So if this is the Big Bang, we have the Big Bang, the universe expansion, then we reach the climax, and then come back for the big crunch. That's basically what's happening here. So if we go back to what a recursive equation actually is. So at the end of the day, it's just an equal sign. It's the next number in the set equals the previous answer ran through the equation again. So you take the answer, N2 is the answer to plugging in N1 into the equation. So you plug the first number in, you get the second number, you plug the second number in, you get the third number. But if you actually look at what's happening, you have this very small piece of information, you could call it a variable, that would be N2, the next number in the series, is equal to this whole large equation. So I'm saying that because if we go back over here, we can imagine that this point is all of the information going back to be reiterated, all right? So we have all of this information which is being compressed into this point of singularity. And this, my friends, is where we bring in the whole spirituality, universality, geometricality of everything into resonance. If you want to understand like how this relates to consciousness, there's a great talk called Fractal Brain Theory by this guy, Y. Sang, and he also wrote a book about it. It's very highly recommended. But what I want to sort of finish off with is why I think this is so important. So I talked briefly about this unity point. So we have all of this information, which is the right side hand of the fractal equation. And then we have this point of unity, which is the left side hand of the fractal equation. So once you've done the calculations, and you could imagine this as information processing. Now I'm doing the torus shape here. So as we're going out here, we're doing all this information processing, and then once the information's all processed, we enter into the next iteration of that equation, right? So this geometry explains how all aspects of the fractal are related. And if you even look at the Mandelbrot set and you sort of pull it out in 3D and you push some places, you can see this torus shape taking place. Now, here I have like a little bit of visual explanation. So if you can imagine a flat plane, that's the information, right? This is the information that we're going to bring into unity. So this is a fractal. This is one group, right, is this thing. So now we have everything coming together. And if you would imagine that this donut is spinning inward to outward and that it actually touches, you can see how this information, this planar information, this is a plane of information, is being geometrically compressed from going to a flat plane to 360 or 720 degrees and going up into that unity point, which then becomes the next iteration of consciousness or the next iteration of the fractal equation. Now, there's so many meaningful things to say about this. In this course I teach, it's free, it's on GitHub, Universal Consciousness. We talk about how these toruses build up the layers of experience within our reality, from matter to plants, to humans that can make the decisions, to these beings of love and light, to the higher beings, until you get to non-physical existence, or consciousness that does not have a flesh and blood vessel. So the meaning of all this is that the entire layer, the entire planar information is compressed to reach the next level, right? So at Fractally, what I believe is we need to focus on two things right now. We need to focus on this plane of information right here. And this is in the first group meeting. So all these contributions are coming in as a plane of information, which contains the contributions of everybody in the Fractally community, right? Everybody in that first meeting. So number one, we need a way to lay that out. We need a way to lay out and see what everybody's contributions are, so we can start with a planar form of information. This is why I've been so adamant as to doing these things. I wrote a proposal about a meeting format. It's also on my GitHub. So this is, I'm acting on this is what I'm saying, but this is what we need to do. Once we have this planar form of information in a way that can be communicated, then we need to look at these mechanisms that how can we take all of this information and make sure that it filters up, right? So for example, if you're having one delegate go on to the next meeting, is that delegate going to be able to take the information and then transmit it through to the next system, right? So these are things to think about. I'm more than happy to answer anybody's questions with my perspective, my point of view. I do sort of like way far off theoretical physics type things related to spirituality. So that might not be your cup of tea, but if it is, you'll find all kinds of crazy things on my GitHub. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope this made sense. If it didn't make sense, maybe I can clarify some things. And I also hope that this has either like made you more excited towards fractals, or made you really realize how we can make Fractally better by making it like an actual fractal. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay fractally. Peace.